Gerald Butts said the Indian government was out to get his sweet boy Justin Trudeau. But our new exclusive access to information documents showed the only person out to get Justin Trudeau in India was Justin Trudeau. We walked into a buzzsaw. Narendra Modi and his government were out to screw us and were throwing tax under our tires to help Canadian Conservatives who did a good job of embarrassing us, said Gerald Butts in his evaluation. Now, that's an excerpt of John Ivison's latest book, out just in time for the federal election, and that excerpt was published in the National Post. Now, that part of Ivison's book, of course, is discussing the Prime Minister's ill-fated trip to India back in February 2018. For those of you with short memories and the blessed ability to forget our national embarrassments quickly, that's the trip where Justin Trudeau brought with him a convicted attempted murderer of an Indian government official, a Khalistani separatist terrorist named Jaspal Atwal, as an official guest of the Canadian government. And then when the presence of said terrorist was uncovered, the Canadian government then tried to blame the Indian government for inviting him to India, which was a complete and total lie. It's also the trip where Justin Trudeau was repeatedly snubbed by the Indian government, who clearly didn't want to hear Justin Trudeau's policies on combating terrorism or injecting gender ideology into every single aspect of public life. It's also the trip when, after Justin Trudeau arrived home, Canadian pulse farmers were slapped with exorbitant tariffs by the Indian government. That quote from Gerald Butts to Ivison about the India trip shows just how much the Liberals and their brain trust are still lying to themselves, and I guess the rest of us, about exactly what happened on that trip to India in early 2018. And that's why I continue to investigate the India trip, because it's pretty clear we're not going to get the truth from a bunch of Liberals who continue to blame their host country for the behavior of their buffoonish leader while he was in the host country. Which means I have another access to information investigation into the trip today. Again, this one is from the Privy Council office. I've probably done at least half a dozen of these investigations into this trip, and I always learn something new to tell you. My latest ATIP doesn't match Gerald Geppetto Butts' assessment of the India trip. Modi and his government stayed as far as they could away from Trudeau and his entourage. And the Indians certainly had no part in the terrorists coming to their country, and they certainly didn't prompt all the weird performative behavior from Trudeau, his entourage, and his family. In fact, in this ATIP, we can see the bureaucrats had other plans for Trudeau to prevent him from making a global laughingstock of himself and our country, and then Trudeau changed the plans last minute. Today's access to information investigation document package is 473 pages long. Now, a lot of it is stuff we've already seen, but the new information in here is frankly bizarre. But first, I want to show you one of the most famous and cringeworthy clips from Trudeau's entire visit to India. For me, this is worse than the namaste hands every time the Trudeaus got off a plane or got in front of a camera. It's worse than the over-the-top garb Trudeau insisted on wearing that even Bollywood stars found a little off-putting. Just look at this clip here. Well, in this access to information document package, I found out a lot of new information about Trudeau's performance that night. I found out it was a complete and total ad lib by the Prime Minister. He wasn't supposed to do that, and he wasn't even supposed to be on the stage at that moment, because I have the itinerary for that night. It's something the bureaucrats called the event flow, and it's broken down by timeline, by minute, where Trudeau is supposed to be at exactly the precise time he's supposed to be there, which I imagine for Trudeau's handlers is a lot like herding cats. Page 414 These are the event flow instructions written just for Trudeau to make sure he does what he's supposed to do and not make himself into some sort of international jackass like this. 1900 hours. You arrive at Canada House and are greeted at the main entrance by High Commissioner Patel. Walk with him into the residence's courtyard and mingle with key interlocutors. Here's the interesting part, though. At 2000 hours, the instructions for Trudeau read, you enter the reception via the back entrance and mingle with the crowd. At 2030, Indian traditional drum music starts in front of the stage to attract attention. At 2035, the High Commissioner takes to the stage to deliver welcoming remarks and then introduces you. At 2038, you take to the stage and deliver informal remarks. So Trudeau's time here is managed right down to the very minute, and he knows where he's supposed to be and what he's supposed to be doing at all times. Instead, what happened here was at 2030, the drumming started and then Trudeau jumped out from behind a curtain like a total goofball and started dancing. And an entire nation cringed. As Ezra always says, Trudeau must make himself the bride at every wedding and the corpse at every funeral, and apparently the clown in every single circus. So despite what sort of cockamamie BS story Gerald Butts would love to have us all believe about the India debacle, the only buzzsaw the Canadian delegation walked into was Justin Trudeau's own spontaneous, juvenile idiocy. For the Rebel.media, I'm Sheila Gunn Reid. What you just saw there is the daily video that I do here at The Rebel, but did you know that I have my own weekly full-length show where we talk about issues facing Canadians and the world in a way that you won't see done in the mainstream media? But to get access to my show and the rest of our incredible premium content, you need to treat yourself to a Rebel subscription today.